Luis Gutierrez. Who is Luis Gutierrez? Well, he makes a lot of statements that are really so provocative, so extreme, on behalf of balkanization and tribalism, that I thought it's important that we find out who this fella is. But before we do, since he's the self-proclaimed Martin Luther King of the Latinos, I want you to hear what he had to say today at a press conference with the Hispanic Congressional Caucus or something? Don't you just love all these ethnic caucuses? That doesn't balkanize the country now, does it? Luis Gutierrez, Democrat, Chicago, cut 7, go.
Not only do they treat the children that are in such need of protection, it is almost as though they despise and hate all of our children.
Stop. You're a sleazeball, Luis. Has anybody ever called you that? I'd be happy to call you that to your face. We despise and hate all of our children? First of all, they're not your children, pal. They're somebody else's children. And if these people loved their children, they wouldn't be making this trek from Guatemala, from El Salvador, from Honduras, from wherever, on their own into the United States, where in some cases they meet up with their parents who are here illegally. How the hell did that happen? Nobody's allowed to question that. Nobody's allowed to ask anything. You see, because the American citizen is the second-class citizen in this country, and the illegal alien is a noble individual. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they've done. But they got here, so they're noble. They love the country. They're hardworking. The American citizen is a putz and deserves whatever he or she gets. Our children? So all the children of the world are now our children and our responsibility? This guy is a real race baiter of the top order. But there's so many of them today that we despise them. So in other words, we're not allowed anymore to argue for a secure border, which used to be a pretty basic thing. It wasn't controversial. So now you despise their children if you insist on stopping the flow of illegal aliens into this country and securing the border. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
And the children that came before them, that have pledged allegiance to the flag of the United States all of their lives, love this country, and the president has afforded them an opportunity to become legal.
Stop. Why don't we try this, Luis? Let's take the children off the table. Let's just pretend, ladies and gentlemen, that every single child here becomes a citizen. Let's just pretend everybody who's been here illegally and is under the age of 21 becomes a citizen. Would Luis Gutierrez then support the deportation of everybody else who's here illegally? No. He'd have 1,000 excuses. Can't break up the family, even if it's the second cousin twice removed. Can't do this. We need them for economic reasons. We need this. We need that. You must hate the Latinos. This man is a disgrace. He hides behind little babies and children to advance his agenda. And what exactly is his agenda? I'll get to that in a minute. The so-called self-proclaimed Martin Luther King of Latinos. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Them in an illegal situation, an undocumented situation, even those that America, and let me just suggest to everybody, an election was held in November of 2012 after the president made that decision, and the American people thought it was a good decision. And we are here to affirm it.
Hey, dummy. Yes, you are a dummy, Gutierrez. Let me explain something to you. We have what's called a constitution. Doesn't matter who's elected. They still have to follow what we call the Constitution. This isn't the majority rules in all cases, no matter what the law is. You elect a president. We didn't have an election to amend the Constitution and empower a king. This is a scary man, this Gutierrez. Very, very scary on many levels. But he wasn't done. Cut 8, go.
Look, unfortunately, the way they speak about a community, it's almost as though the children, we are a vile, repugnant community to them.
Stop. You see what a hateful race baiter this guy is? You see how vile he is? You can see how societies break apart. You can see how a man like this, a demagogue, is trying to inflame people, trying to create jealousies and hatred. You can see that the man is not very intelligent. He doesn't want to have a debate on substance. This is Paul Ryan's buddy, by the way. It reminds me of Ruth Bader Ginsburg yesterday. Remember her? Because 5 male justices voted to uphold the First Amendment and the Religious Liberty Clause. They don't understand women because they don't have a woman's genitalia. Well, how does that explain the one man who voted with them? Justice Breyer, I assume he has a male genitalia. I don't want to look. I'm just suggesting. Well, he gets it, see? Well, what is he? Why? Why does he get it? Well, because he agrees with her. You see the nature of the radical left politics? Ruth Bader Ginsburg, former general counsel to the American Criminal Liberties Union, the ACLU. These are not people who believe in a United States of America, a one people, a colorblind society. These are people who seem to destroy us and to use the worst of the worst tactics. Race, ethnicity, sex. More Gutierrez, go.
That they vilify and demonize in every one of their statements. And I think that that is a sad commentary because there are dozens of members of the Republican Party. And
shut up, you idiot. I'm done with you. I want to make a statement to all people in this country, but particularly Latinos. You should rid yourselves of self-appointed, phony leaders like this, who are nothing more than demagogues. He's a phony. He's a fraud. This man should be talking about liberty. This man should be talking about opportunity. This man should be talking about wealth creation and property rights. This man should be talking about things such as faith. This man should be talking about a stable law, a manageable, ordered immigration system that's fair to everybody. But he doesn't. He panders. And I would ask individuals in this country who have a Latino heritage, I would ask you a question. Do you want millions and millions of people flooding into this country from Central and South America? Do you want millions and millions of people flooding into this country from Europe, from Southeast Asia, from Africa, from the Middle East, illegally? We don't know if they're criminals. We don't know if they're gang members. We don't know if they're terrorists. We don't know if they have diseases, whatever their ages are. Or do you want an orderly immigration system that rewards law-abiding individuals? And where the country can assimilate people from all walks of life into the American system and the American culture. Because here's the point, ladies and gentlemen, to all communities, to all Americans. If the civil society is destroyed, if respect for the rule of law, respect for the individual as an individual, respect for unalienable rights, respect for sovereignty, if the civil society dies, well, then all the freedom and opportunity that the civil society provides is destroyed as well. You see, Luis Gutierrez is not the Martin Luther King of the Latino community. He's not the Martin Luther King of any community. He's Luis Gutierrez. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Luis Gutierrez as soon as we return.
Mark Levin.
Luis Gutierrez. Who is this man? The self-proclaimed Martin Luther King of the Latino community. According to the DiscoverTheNetworks.org, Luis Gutierrez was born in Chicago, December 10, 1953, to parents of Puerto Rican ancestry. And after graduating with an English degree from Northeastern Illinois University in 1977, he spent approximately 7 years working variously as a cab driver, school teacher, community activist, and social worker. From 1984 to 86, Gutierrez, a Democrat, served as an advisor to Mayor Harold Washington of Chicago, our friends on WLS. You can remember the magnificent days, the heydays of Harold Washington. In 1986, Gutierrez was elected alderman of that city's mostly Hispanic 26th Ward. Ooh, look at this. And at the time, he was a member of the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a Marxist-Leninist entity. What? At the time, he was a member of the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a Marxist-Leninist entity. Have you heard a single news report mentioning that? No. In 1992, Gutierrez won a seat in the U.S. Congress, representing the newly formed 4th District of Illinois. Gerrymandered from neighborhoods and suburbs west of downtown Chicago, this bizarrely shaped 75% Latino district was designed by Democrats not only to guarantee the area a Latino representative in Congress, but also to concentrate so many Latinos into a single district that they would pose little threat of unseating any black Democrat in the vicinity. Since then, Gutierrez has been reelected every 2 years to the House of Representatives, where he's a member of both the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Where's the Congressional Marxist-Leninist Caucus? You'd have about a third of the Democrat Party in that one. His political campaigns have drawn significant support from the Democratic Socialists of America. What? I said his political campaigns have drawn significant support from the Democratic Socialists of America. In the mid-1990s, Gutierrez developed close ties to the pro-socialist New Party in Chicago. In 1995 to 96, he was a board member of the Illinois Public Action. These are these radical left-wing groups set up in part by Jane Fonda and that idiot former husband of hers. No, not that one, the other former husband. That was the state's largest public interest organization, left-wing commie organization, along with such notables as Jan Schakowsky, a current congresswoman from Chicago, among others. And in 1997, Gutierrez served on the board of Citizen Action of Illinois. In 1999, Gutierrez collaborated with fellow Progressive Caucus members Jose Serrano, there's another genius, and Nadia Velasquez to pressure President Bill Clinton through Deputy Attorney General Eric Holder to free 16 convicted FALN terrorists whose bombs had killed 6 people. Wait a minute. What about the children? What about our children? Those bombs killed 6 people. They could have easily killed little children. Let me repeat. In 1999, Gutierrez collaborated with fellow Progressive Caucus members Jose Serrano and Nadia Velasquez to pressure Bill Clinton through then Deputy Attorney General Eric Holder to free 16 convicted FALN terrorists. Oh, yes. This Gutierrez, he is the Martin Luther King of the Latino community, is he not, ladies and gentlemen? Now, during his years in Congress, Gutierrez has cultivated a reputation as the Democratic Party's leading strategist and spokesperson on immigration issues, and he's been at the forefront of the effort to pass comprehensive immigration reform. In 2001, he became the first elected official to sponsor a version of the DREAM Act. In 2004, he was a guest speaker at a Take Back America conference. A Take Back America conference. I thought that was a Klan operation with the Tea Party. No, it's a Marxist operation with Gutierrez. Ooh. Organized by Campaign for America's Future, an organization dominated by the Democratic Socialists of America and the Institute for Policy Studies. 2008, Gutierrez was appointed to the National Latino Advisory Council of Barack Obama's presidential campaign. The following year, he co-sponsored the Comprehensive Immigration Reform for America's Security and Prosperity Act, Pathway to Citizenship for Non-Criminal Illegal Aliens. In July 2011, he was arrested for participating in a sit-in outside the White House to demand that Obama stop the deportation of illegal aliens. So you see, so far, no illegal alien who came here as a child, no matter what their age is now, should be deported. No illegal alien who hasn't committed a felony should be deported. Taxpayer benefits should go to illegal aliens. You see where we're going with this? America should dissolve. Americans should no longer be a sovereign country. America should be devoured by all of its neighbors. Luis Gutierrez, cab driver, Marxist, socialist, congressman, Renaissance man. I'm not done with this guy. I'll be right back. So Luis Gutierrez, his background is as a member of the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a Marxist-Leninist organization. He's had enormous support from other socialist organizations, Democratic Socialists of America. He's drawn significant support from them. He's been involved in the radical left movement that was founded by radicals in the 1960s, Illinois Public Action, and then the parent organization Citizen Action of Illinois. So he's a true hardcore radical. He was one of the leading voices, if not the leading voices, in the so-called Progressive Caucus, pushing for pardons for 16 convicted FALN terrorists who murdered 6 people and never apologized to any of them. Neither did Gutierrez when he pushed for their release. And they were released. The man is a radical leftist. A radical leftist. And he presents himself as this charming member of Congress who just cares about the children. Only apparently illegal alien children, but still the children, our children, he says. Where are the parents for these children? You see the illogic that we're having to deal with that's being rammed down our throats? So you have illegal adults, illegal alien adults, mothers and fathers who come to this country. And then they demand that their children come to the country. You have adults in other parts of the world now who are sending their children into this country to be legalized on their way to citizenship. And should they become citizens, then they have the right through chain migration to call for their parents, their grandparents, their uncles, their aunts, and their cousins. Not to mention their brothers and sisters. Gutierrez knows exactly what he's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are part of a Marxist-Leninist group like the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, if you are part of the Citizen Action of Illinois, if you led the charge to free 16 convicted FALN terrorists, you really don't love this country very much, do you? Let's be frank. Or Franco. But let's be honest. There are a lot of forces in this country, a lot of front groups. Some of them are ethnic front groups. Some of them are political front groups. Some of them are economic front groups. Some of them are environmental front groups, whatever, who exist for the purpose of tearing down our society. Anybody with any common sense, regardless of skin color, regardless of genitalia or what you do with your genitalia, regardless of your religion, clearly knows you cannot have open borders and people flooding in from all walks of life. You can't sustain it economically. You can't sustain it culturally. You can't sustain it from a law enforcement, a health point of view. It's a disaster to a society. Now, you and me, we are the society. Blacks, Latinos, Asians, whites from Europe, whites from other part of the world. You name it. This is our country. This is our society. We together are the American people. So when you have these individuals like Gutierrez, or Obama, or Holder, or Pelosi, or whomever, or even a Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, trying to rip us apart, trying to create group identity. What they are really trying to do is empower themselves and empower the government, and in the name of group identity, destroy individual identity. You cannot have individual identity if you are lumped together in a group with most people you don't even know. I'm Jewish. Oh, you're part of the Jewish community. Okay, great. I don't even know who they are. Oh, you're Latino. Yes, you're part of the Latino community. Great. Where are you? What is that? Who are they? And you can go down the ethnic group. You can go down the whatever. It serves the purposes of a Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a Nancy Pelosi, a Barack Obama. It serves the purposes of an Eric Holder, of a Luis Gutierrez, to treat us not as human beings, but as a collection of people. And they do it on the ethnic front. They do it on the economic front. Oh, the great middle class. I stand for the middle class. They can't even define the middle class, which, of course, they don't stand for. They want to fundamentally transform the country, which means the bulk of us, we the people, are going to be fundamentally transformed. Our lifestyles are. It is important to look at who these self-appointed leaders of this group or that group actually are. And Luis Gutierrez is a radical leftist. Luis Gutierrez was part of the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a Marxist-Leninist entity. His ties are to the Democratic Socialists of America. This doesn't even matter to anybody, does it? A leader of the effort to give pardons to convicted FALN terrorists. Does he represent you? Does he speak for you? And there he is all over TV, speaking for millions and millions of people, most of whom probably don't even know who he is. Never challenged. Never challenged. Ever. It's like this group, La Raza. It's like this group, LULAC. Have there been any investigative reports on these groups by any cable channel? By any news operation anywhere? No. No, they go on and on about conservative groups and their money and their ties to this one and that one. How about these two groups? Nothing, not a word. Why? Why not? La Raza's founding would shock most Americans because the organization was founded in reaction to Mexico, among others, wanting to, quote-unquote, take back these territories that we call Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and California and so forth. We have them illegitimately, don't you know? That's why La Raza was started. Well, we all know we're not going to be conquered militarily from any of our friends south of the border. But in an odd way, we can be conquered through open borders. The corrupt government in Mexico has directly attempted to change America. And now the corrupt government in Mexico is encouraging other countries south of Mexico to do the same. Mexico will not tolerate illegal aliens, period. And I read for you, a month ago or so, the immigration rules that apply to Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador, they will not tolerate illegal aliens either. No country does. Even the European Union woke up, all those leftists. Hey, wait a minute. We better do something about this. A little late, but there they are. When Congress says, if Congress doesn't act, I will, Obama. If Congress doesn't act, I will. What Obama is saying is, hey, look, I'm a Marxist-Leninist too. All these groups that my good friend Luis belongs to, I can outdo them. After all, I had Reverend Wright. After all, I grew up around, politically, Bill Ayers, Bernardine Dorn, our friend Khalidi. I believe he's a professor at Columbia. Oh, yeah. I can out-radical Mr. Gutierrez any day. It's like sitting around a table with these radical leftists in college, you know. Those of us who went to college, there they are sitting in the corner, wearing their tie-dye shirts, going on and on about how much they hate America and how much America has to be changed and on and on. Now these people run the country. They run the country. This isn't about little Latino children. This isn't about big Latino adults. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about, in Gutierrez's case and so many who claim to represent these children, their contempt for America. Their contempt for American history. Because this is insanity. And you know it and I know it. Absolute insanity. And Obama's actions are despotic. If Congress doesn't act, Congress doesn't have to act. The Constitution says Congress must act, does not say Congress must act. The Constitution doesn't say if Congress doesn't act, Obama must act. These are all lies. These are all a web of lies created by a man who's increasingly despotic. So what if Congress doesn't act? That doesn't empower you. Where's that written? If Congress doesn't act, it empowers Obama. If Congress doesn't act, Congress doesn't act. Doesn't mean you get to legislate Obama. No, it doesn't. Well, I don't have the budget, he says. I need the budget for this is on the border. So the man creates the catastrophe on the border, then demands money, which doesn't even go to the border. Then he says if Congress doesn't give him what he wants, he's going to act on his own. You see, despotism. And don't worry, because Gutierrez has been saying for weeks now that Obama told him, don't worry, 3, 4, 5, 6 million. Wink, wink, we'll take care of that, Luis. They're two peas in the same pod. Take care of that, Luis. Don't worry. I got your back. Obama doesn't want Congress to act. Obama wants to make the decision, and he wants to decide how this is going to be done. Harry Reid is his puppet in the United States Senate, blocking everything and anything unless Obama nods his head. And I hope the people in Nevada, I hope you remove him once and for all, because he is a cancer on the body politic of our country. Yet this is all an inside game. And you can hear Gutierrez and others, their rhetoric is getting increasingly out of control. I'm going to play some more of them. I want you to hear some of the others from the, what do they call it, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, on how you hate Latinos, particularly babies and children, because you don't believe in open borders and amnesty. Pretty amazing stuff. How the hell did we get to the point where we have Marxist-Leninists running the country? Obama's major influences as he was growing up in Hawaii, not just being bong man with the, is that what you call it, Mr. Producer? I don't know. Taking the bongs, Chong Gang, whatever he called it. A pothead and a coke user, let me be blunt. But he was taken under the wing of a committed Marxist, an extreme Marxist. That's the name Frank in his multiple autobiographies. And then, of course, surrounded himself with these people. And now we have this Gutierrez, comes out of the same political mindset. And these are the people setting policy for the country. This is why they reject our Constitution. They reject the limits that are placed on their power. Give a damn about that. Marx teaches them, screw that. Hell with it. Doesn't matter. You can throw the terms around, but see, the problem is the white majority in this country hate Latino babies. See, that's the problem. The white majority in this country hate Latino babies. Yet, the Latino majority in Guatemala, El Salvador, and wherever, they obviously love Latino children, which is why they're trying to escape those countries and come here. I don't get it. If this white majority in America is so awful, why do so many people come here who aren't white? Because it's a great country. It's not awful. You don't see people pouring into Honduras or Guatemala or El Salvador, do you? So this isn't about some kind of hatred for Latino babies or children. Quite the contrary. There's no reason Latino babies and children can't come into this country in a legal immigration process, and many, many, many do. Why does the Mexican government hate Latino baby and children who aren't Mexican? I mean, this is so stupid. The whole damn thing is so moronic. Look how we get caught in the gutter that is the left, where they live.